I'm a millionaire. It just doesn't work. Okay, and then after you get somebody that comes in and says, no, you've been doing it all wrong. You gotta attach some feeling into it. You gotta mean it. And so you sit there and you're like, I gotta feel it. I'm a millionaire. Yeah, I'm a millionaire. Yeah, until one moment you just stop and you're like, what in the world am I doing? And so, trust me, I've been down this path when I first started engaging in personal development. And you know what actually happened to me when I was stating those exact same things? In a relatively short period of time, I actually did the opposite. I got laid off from my job, which then put me way further away from being a millionaire than before. Being laid off made me feel completely like a loser and worthless, which only amplified the feeling of what I was trying to run away from. And I ended up having my ex cheat on me, which then was not my dream partner. So I actually had the complete opposites happen. And then I realized, I'm like, I just need to try harder and harder. I just need to do it harder. So I just repeat, I'm a millionaire, I got a dream wife. And what happened, all I was doing was I was increasing the pressure of the expectations that I was looking to attain, which was in fact inversely proportional to exactly what was happening. I was reducing the probability of this ever occurring. And in fact, these words were repeated so many times that they actually became hollow. I had such a hard time attaching feelings to them, attaching some sort of meaning to it. I was just going through the motion. I had to motivate myself. So scrap all that. I found something that actually I found that works quite well, and that's called the polarization technique. And before we dive into the polarization technique, I'll explain you some of the pillars of how this works and why I find it a significantly better approach than affirmations. You see, affirmations, what I find the reason why they caught a lot of attention and spread like wildfire is that I think that they've worked for some people. A very few set of people that had the particular conditioning and set of beliefs, and they were in a particular situation where if they just repeated these affirmations, it actually got them to believe in this particular thing and actually take action and get some results. But for most of us, I find, especially for myself, is that I'm not at that place. And how I was approaching affirmations was completely from a place of lack. I was approaching it like, look, I want to be a millionaire when I don't even know how to make my first dollar online. At the time, I had no idea. So this was just complete bullshit in my subconscious. It was like, what are you doing? And so I think that they've worked for some people, and based on that success, it's spread like wildfire. And yes, you can argue that there is some benefit that during that time you're getting a little bit more clarity on what you want, and that you're not spending your time in a negative state. You're actually spending it on something that you want. You could argue that that's the thing, but I think the benefits from doing that are usually realized within maybe the first time you do it, and after that it's a diminishing return for the amount of action and effort required to keep it up. So the three pillars that I find that really make up the polarization technique that I'm about to show you is first is alignment. So similar to affirmations, what you're doing is you're looking to align yourself in this new reality of you that has achieved what you're looking to achieve. Now, here's the trick. If, like me at the time, you've never made your first dollar online and you were visualizing being a millionaire, and if you had never done that before, the gap between that desire and my current reality and my new reality that I was looking to attempt, that gap was so wide and filled with so many things that I didn't believe it. I actually couldn't feel that fully. So what I did is actually reduce that desire, reduce it down to something where instead of making $1 million online, I am someone who knows how to make money online. And maybe that's even if you want to get specific, I'm someone that knows how to make his first dollar online, or first $100 online, or first $1,000, whatever you want. You adjust it to yourself and where you're at. Now that became something that I can align myself to a lot more easier. Like, okay, I can visualize that. I can see what that actually looks like. And this leads into the second pillar, which is belief. And your belief system, the further you are away from your belief system, the less you're going to believe it. And until these belief systems are handled, you're really going to continue spinning your loop. It's not going to shift your subconscious. You might impact these superficial beliefs, but you're sponsoring deep-rooted beliefs that basically sprung that like connect to like feelings of worthlessness and stuff like that, and stuff you've carried on for decades, are not going to be reversed with you just consciously talking about a different affirmation and a different belief system. In fact, you're just going to be, whatever you resist, it just persists. And so what's happening here is that we're slowly just helping shift the belief system. So by putting our desire to something more manageable, like, making my first dollar online, if it's fitness, I'm someone that actually, maybe I'm someone that just walks on a daily basis, or I'm someone that can actually strike up a conversation or get a response from someone that could be potentially a dream partner. I'm someone that can actually get a response from that from another person that I'm looking to potentially date. So it's something like that where you dial it back. So now your belief system can be more aligned to that, and you get to see like, what would I be thinking in that particular niche, in that particular situation if I was there? And the last one leads into is the feeling of it. So now can you feel what this looks like? Since it's not so far out from where your current reality is, you're far more likely to be able to tap into the feeling behind it, and the state the state of it, and the actual belief system. So now we have the alignment of the new reality, we have the belief system of the new reality, and we have the feelings of the new reality. You see, this is something really cool with humans, is I find that we have a threshold, a baseline threshold. And if our life goes down and hits this baseline, there's a specific baseline within all of us, and it varies for every single person in every different areas and every different sitch. But the moment you hit this baseline, this is your bottom. You're like, I ain't going past that. And you take action, you go from there. And oftentimes we think that we have to hit that bottom baseline to bounce up. Sometimes we do. That's fine. It's an experience that we get to learn something new from. But what happens is we're operating from this baseline, and we're attempting to establish a new baseline with these ideas of like multi-million dollars, of like dream partner right off the bat. If you've never talked to someone before, it's actually too far-fetched. However, if we adjust our belief systems and our alignments and our feelings to a baseline that's about here, it's a very easy stepping stone. And all of a sudden, when you do actually align to that reality and you start to experience that new reality and it becomes your new reality, your new baseline upgrades, essentially. And now you won't go lower than that. You won't go lower than making $1,000 a month. You won't go lower than, than actually striking up conversations with somebody. You won't go lower than actually going for a run once a week or something like that. And then from there, you have a new perspective, a new set of beliefs, a new set of feelings. And from there, you're able to establish more clearly what that next baseline is and what that next stepping stone is. So essentially, you're taking it one step at a time. And so the technique, instead of affirmations, the technique that I'd like to use is called the polarization exercise. And this is where, once you have your visualizations, your beliefs, and your feelings, you write down your old self. And you can do this even within just a couple of sentences. The old self, here's how I feel doubt and fear. Here's where I'm currently at, and this is what I'm doing, okay? And then write down on the other side your new reality, your new self. Okay, and you write down what feelings, what they express. Was it more confidence, more joy, whatever that particular outcome is. Now, what happens is you're going to be doing is polarizing yourself from one identity to the next identity, and back to the old identity, and back to the other one, and you're just going to be switching back and forth, back and forth. The beauty of this entire thing is that you are now training and teaching your body how to shift into and out of it. And here's how the technique goes. So you start off with the old self, okay? And you can set aside a timer for this, let's say like 30 seconds to a minute, where you embody the old self, okay? Which is the current position where you're at. Like, okay, I got some doubt, I got some fear, this is how I respond to fears, this is what I do from there. Then you shift on into the new self. And for the next 30 seconds to a minute, you do that particular thing. You're like, what does the new self think about? What is the new conditioning? What is the new way in how I express confidence and joy? Then you go back, and now you focus on just seeing yourself through that particular person. Similar to the first step, but now you're just focusing on seeing it as that person. Not from a 3D point of view, but you're in their shoes, and you're seeing life from there. 30 seconds to a minute. And you switch over to seeing yourself from that new reality that you're looking to create. Then you go back. Now you're going to be as that person, but you're going to act something out. How do you act throughout your day? How do you act in the face of something else? Then you shift it back into the new self, and you start to act. How would that person act? How did they behave themselves? What did they do? And then from acting what you do, you switch it back. And from here, you're going to be looking at, how do I face a challenge? How does the old self face a particular challenge? And then shifting over to the new self, how do they take on a challenge? And now at this moment, you've actually switched back and forth multiple times. Now, this is somewhere where this is what you can start with. And that's all you can end up doing. So in the beginning, the first couple of days, you'll notice after a couple of days of doing this, just how much easier it becomes from tapping into this state to that state. Then you can take it a little bit further. Now what you start to do is you start to focus more of your time on the new self. So you start to tap into this one for a shorter frequency of time, and then you allocate, so whether it's 15 to 30 seconds, and now you allocate more time towards the new self, which is the 30 seconds to minute and a half mark if you want. But you change the ratio, so instead of a 50-50, now you've got a 75-25 ratio. So this is how you're starting to shift and allocate more time from here. Then what you do is once you've been flipping back and forth, you then see from the new self, you see your old self within the new self. This is the key right here, is that you start to integrate and realize that the old self is still a part of you. These are your experiences. This is what you've experienced and what shaped you to be where you're at today. But you're also accepting it within your particular stage. You're not agreeing that this is who you are anymore. It just becomes, like I say, a cloud in the sky that moves around. The you from 10 years ago is no longer the you of today, but it is still a part of you. And you don't necessarily identify with that particular self, of that particular version of you. You identify yourself with the version of you that is present right now. And so as you're shifting, you're now starting to create the new reality. And so going from the old to the new, from the old to the new, to the whole you. And now you're starting to embody this, and now you're aligned. Now your beliefs are aligned with that particular alignment, and so are your feelings. And so give that a shot. So I give that a shot over the affirmations. So you've got the affirmations, and we talked about how they can work for some people just simply because of the particular situation that they're in. And then we've talked about how they don't really work because there's a lot of things that it's just honestly, it's BS filters through your subconscious that don't believe it. And then so we talked about the three pillars, which is the alignment, the belief, the feelings, and then the polarization exercise where you're tapping in from the old self to the new self, the old self to the new self, and eventually you start to allocate more time towards the new self, and eventually you start to integrate it as a whole self right now, where you are the new self while also accepting and understanding of the old self within. You're all of it in and of itself. So give that thing a shot, and let me know how it goes in the comments. Bye.